Anime fans, the first thing I want to discuss today is why I think Lois Lane is just as important to get right Superman Legacy. Because to me, you need to buy the chemistry between Clark and Lois. Like, one of the things that didn't work for me about Man of Steel and Returns also is that Amy Adams was fine as Lois Lane, but she lacked that, like, feistiness and that tough reporter attitude that wants the story. Like, she was fine, but she was just kind of forgettable to me in the role. And the actress who played Lois Lane in Superman Returns, I thought she was terrible in the role, and her and Ben Mouth had zero chemistry, and for me, Amy Adams and Henry Cavill had bland chemistry too. Like I never bought those two together, those versions of those characters, and I think one of the things that also made those first two original Christopher movies great was that you Christopher Reeve and Margot Kitty had great chemistry, and Margot Kitty to me did a great job of giving Lois Lane kind of like this, like I said, this feistiness, this tough reporter attitude. Like you wanted those two to be together. Same thing, like when you watch the current Superman and Lois show, the actress who also is from the show Grimm, one of my other favorite shows, she does a great job playing Lois on that show. I mean, you buy into the relationship. Same with Dean Kane's Superman show, where the actress who played Lois Lane in that show did a great job too. You buy in a relationship. Same with Smallville, like Ogdo Ants. You want her and Tyrone to get together like right away as soon as she popped on screen. She had that like tough attitude, that like somebody who's a fighter, and I just felt like to me in Man of Steel with Amy Adams, she just was just very like kind of like flat and forgettable to me in the role. Like I feel like she just lacked some of those important elements of the Lois Lane character. Same with the girl from Superman Returns, and like I said, I you need to make a great Lois Lane, but you need her to be part of the reason that grounds Superman. Like you need to buy in a relationship. Like you want to see these two together. And also, like Superman and Lois to me is one of the most iconic couples in the comics. Like to me, when I think of like the most iconic couples in the comics, I put them up there with like Catwoman and Batman, or Mary Jane and Peter. And I just felt like to me there hasn't been a great Lois Lane in a film since Marvel Kitty, in my opinion, in film. So that's why I also think you need to get Lois Lane right. And you need to make sure they have actually a chemistry between the two actors so you buy into the relationship. The next thing I want to discuss is a Napoleon trailer. I thought this looks great. I thought the war scenes look great. I love the little drama with his wife you see in the story. Story looks great. I think Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor. Yeah, I know some people say they had trouble hearing his voice. He sounds like he's mumbling a little and doesn't have the French accent. Which I can understand the whole French accent part of it. People want them to hire like a real French actor to play Napoleon. But I think he's just a great actor. The trailer's great. And somebody Willie Scott, who's done a lot of great movies. So I'm a big fan of his filmography. Yeah, he hit a streak during his time where he did a lot of bad movies, but he's made a lot of great movies. So I think this trailer's great. The battle scenes look really cool with the war scenes, so I can't wait for this movie. The next thing I want to discuss is Wonka trailer. Now, let me say this. I like the original Willy Wonka movie. It's not one of my all-time favorite movies. It's not a cult classic to me, but I enjoyed the original movie. The Tim Burton one, Johnny Depp, I thought that was horrible. Like, I love Tim Burton. He has a particular style, but his style didn't work for me in that movie. And Johnny Depp just felt he came off too weird for me in that movie. Like, I just wasn't a fan of it, and it just didn't work for me personally. And with this one, I was excited because of Timothy Solomon. He's a great actor, and I think he's a fantastic choice. That is what made me really intrigued by this movie. I mean, I like the idea of doing origin. It kind of did that with Johnny Depp first, and it didn't work out well for me personally. So watching this trailer, I was like, you know what? This trailer actually has me excited. I thought the story looks great. The music scenes look great. I love the time period and like the production design with the clothes and everything. It looks fantastic. The only nitpick I have is at the end with the Oompa Loompa with Huge Grant. Like the CGI looks off to me, and I'll be honest, Oompa Loompas has always been a part of the story that's kind of like always came off goofy to me that I couldn't completely buy into. Hopefully, it looks better in the finished movie, but that was the only part of the trailer that kind of pulled me out. But otherwise, great trailer. I can't wait for this movie. The next thing that I wanted to discuss is the news of Jenifer Garner coming back as Elektra. Let me say this. I think she's a great actress, but this news doesn't excite me. And the reason it doesn't excite me is because I wasn't a fan of her as a character. I prefer the Netflix version, that actress. I thought Jennifer Garner was awful as Elektra. I didn't really like her as a character in the Daredevil movie. And I thought her own movie sucked. I'm not even that big fan of the Daredevil movie. Like, I think that the theatrical cut of Daredevil sucks. I like the director's cut. It's an improvement, but no matter which version that movie was, it's not great. And no matter which version, I'm not a fan of her as a character. It's like the Nicolas Cage Superman thing. It doesn't really do anything for me personally. So, like, she's a great actress. I'm just not really excited. And it's probably gonna be a cameo appearance, but even if it's not a cameo appearance, like I said, I wasn't a fan of her as a character, so it doesn't really make me excited to see her back personally. I do think this leaves more credence to rumors of Bradley coming back as Daredevil. If that happens, that doesn't do anything for me either. I wasn't a fan of him as Daredevil, so yeah, Jennifer Garner coming back doesn't particularly excite me. The next thing I want to discuss is the Killer of the Flowers movie trailer. Now, I thought this looks great. I think this looks like definitely a movie that's going to win a lot of awards if it turns out to be fantastic. And Melissa says, I love him. He's a great filmmaker. May not like him based on his comments that he makes about comic movies, especially that one comment went like they aren't real cinema, basically saying the comic movies aren't real movies. I think his viewpoints on that at times is a little like not a fan of. But he's a great filmmaker, and I do love a lot of his movies. And even though I'm not a fan of the stuff he says about comic movies, I think he comes off like an asshole with his comments at times. He makes great movies, and I think the trailer looks fantastic. I think Leo DiCaprio, like I said, I'm a big fan of Leo DiCaprio. He's a great actor, and I think the movie just like it has a great story. Looks like a great drama, great heavy drama. So I can't wait for this movie. Definitely thought this was a great trailer. The last thing I want to discuss is this is something I'm really really excited about. Is that they put out pictures of Huge Jackman as Wolverine. I think the costume looks fantastic. I think to me this is a great job of taking the yellow and blue costume from the comics, keeping the giving him an accurate costume that looks similar, but updating it for a film. It looks great to me. I love the little blue sodas on the side. I thought that looked cool. I love the yellow and blue look to it. And to me, as much as I love those first two original X-Men movies, and I love them in a wall, and I was fine with the black uniforms in those movies. I understand why they did it at the time, but it always disappointed me that we never got to see him in this costume. Especially when you watch like there's an alternate ending to the Wolverine where he gets a suitcase, he opens up and the costume is in it, like a brown yellow version. And it always sucked that we just never saw it. Like to me, I was like, if you're gonna bring him back, and if this is the last time he's playing Wolverine, to me, you gotta put him in the costumes. I do think we'll see the mask. I think if you look at the photos, there's been more released where it's like there's an acid scene going on between him and Deadpool. It kind of looks like the mask will probably be on the back and he pulls it up. And they might be keeping that until the trailer to reveal that. So I think this costume looks great. And also with the rumors going around that previous Fox Fantastic Four characters will be in it, or rumors about some of the original X-Men members coming back. I would love to see Cyclops, Jean, Storm, Magneto. I know there's rumors of Patrick still coming back, but I would love to see those four Cyclops, Jean, Storm, and Magneto actually get like more accurate costumes. Because like when it comes to this, like seeing like you had Cyclops, Storm, and Jean in black leather uniforms like Wolverine, which was fine, but I would love to see them get them actual accurate costumes if they all come back. But I think this is a great. I think the Wolverine costume looks awesome. And I think to me, if you're gonna do a Deadpool 3 where Deadpool's more wacky and it's a multiverse movie, you have Deadpool in costume. I think to me, you gotta have Wolverine in costume if you're gonna have Deadpool in costume with these movies. To me, you gotta put Wolverine in the costume too. So I think the costume turned out to look great, and I can't wait to see it actually in like the movie when you see him moving around in it. That's all the movie needs. Until next time, movie lovers.